Good morning, beautiful souls. Happy Friday and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a collective reading and energy update. You guys know I channel these reading videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to tune in on those times and days. The energy, particularly during the live premiere of those reading videos, is really powerful, especially in our live chat on the video. So that energy can be very transformative, and I am so appreciative to each and every one of you who is a co-creator of that energy here on this channel. So lots of energy coming through today, and it started even prior to hitting the record button, which means that there is a really, really powerful shift taking place. The first message I got for a divine feminine is just that you have gone through some kind of major shift. And the word I was hearing was unrecognizable, like this shift in your energy that is well underway is making you literally unrecognizable at this deep emotional and energetic level. It's almost like you are being transformed into this entirely brand new version of yourself. It's almost like you wake up one morning and suddenly feel so differently about yourself, your life, something in your life than you've been feeling about it in the past. Now, of course, energy doesn't know time, space, or distance. So for some of you listening, this could be a shift you've already experienced. This also could be something underway for you at the moment. I feel that will be the case for most listening. For others of you, this could be futuristic. This could be speaking to a shift that is in store for you that you can sense coming. But regardless, as I always say, I do channel many different people, situations, and energies throughout these readings. So I always recommend using your own intuition to determine which messages are meant for you and which are meant for others. Now, another message I was getting prior to starting this video is that for the group of individuals I'm speaking to, we have the Death card reversed. So I feel that either you have been going through some kind of ego death experience. Now, I wanted to call it a mini ego death, but that's just because for the person I'm channeling, that's not to undermine the intensity, but to say that you've actually already gone through a previous major ego death. It's like you are very familiar with, I'm hearing, losing yourself to become your true self, or to become more of your true self, meaning you are very accustomed to how it feels to really shed your skin, to let go of those facets of your physical 3D identity that may no longer be aligning with you, and to therefore make space for a transformation into a higher version of yourself. I keep hearing disappearing and glowing up. This might be a theme for you in your life that sometimes to other people, it almost feels like you just drop off the face of the earth because you really disconnect at times from your physical 3D presentation of self, from that form of your identity, in order to really go within yourself and get clear on who you want to become, what energy you want to embody. Whether you're doing this consciously or subconsciously, I feel like you are someone who, it's almost like, I'm getting like the word shapeshifter, like you are almost a chameleon, someone who moves in silence and might seem invisible for a period of time to others, But during that time, you are really going within yourself, transforming your energy from the inside out. And then it's like you pop back into reality again, and you're unrecognizable in a sense, like your energy is unrecognizable, or your emotional state. Or for some of you, this even could be your personality or your appearance. To facilitate these shifts, you may even decide to change certain things about that physical 3D identity, whether it's your routines, your location, your living space, your physical bodily or just physical appearance in some way. You may make some of these changes to actually, again, facilitate the energetic shift that you've made within yourself. Now, I'm getting this could be happening to some of you at the moment. You could have felt a sudden urge recently to change something about your appearance. For some reason, I keep seeing a tattoo. Someone might have tattoos. I feel like for someone listening, you may have suddenly wanted to do something physically. This could involve like dyeing your hair, doing something physically with your body, maybe changing up your routines in some way. Physically getting out more into nature, that could be relevant for someone. But also for some of you, this could be wanting to suddenly do something different in regards to how you present yourself to the world. So you may have started sharing some kind of gift or passion online or with other people. Again, I'm just getting this sense that it's almost like subconsciously, there's been these powerful changes happening within you for a long time. Then all of a sudden, they're beginning to break to the surface. And when those changes have completed, it's almost like something just clicks into place. And without fully knowing why, you're suddenly inspired in a brand new direction, or you're suddenly inspired to make a change or to do something different or to present yourself in a different way. And it feels so natural and automatic, almost like you're not even thinking about it. You just do it. It becomes just part of who you are because you've actually already up-leveled onto this higher timeline. It's almost like, whoa, I'm getting major chills, by the way, reading into your energy, but it's almost like you've shifted onto this higher timeline. And my guides are saying you could think of this timeline like being an actor or an actress in a movie. And you are like plopped into this movie set, but everyone around you doesn't know that they're an actor in the movie. They think that it's real. So they're all playing out these roles and parts. You are sensing that you are on this new set in this different environment, that even the characters or the people around you are slightly different, which, by the way, this is a major sign you've shifted timelines. It's not that you will necessarily be surrounded by all different people, but it is that within every person, there are infinite timeline potentials. So when you align with a higher timeline, you are actually connecting with a higher version of even people around you that you might be familiar with. And you might see evidence of that playing out in your life in some way. You may be seeing, but getting back to this movie, I keep getting ahead of myself, this movie set metaphor. The reason I keep getting ahead of myself is because there's so much powerful energy around this reading, which tells me that many of you have manifested in these messages today. If that is the case, I would really love to hear from you in the comments, by the way. Let me know if anything here is connecting. I'm hearing the word synchronicity, so I promise I'm going to get back to that movie set timeline shift analogy. But I have to say, I also feel for the person I'm speaking to here, you've been experiencing some strange and possibly unexplainable synchronicities. Now, for someone listening, this is so specific, but I feel like you may have ran into someone randomly or saw someone randomly that you connect with in some type of significant way, maybe that you'd forgotten about or that you don't actively think about, but it's almost like you just ran into them somewhere completely random. And it felt like being in alignment. It felt like a really odd synchronicity. This is just one example. You could have your own example of synchronicity from your life, but I do feel there have been there's been some type of moment of alignment that showed up in the physical world that may have actually had you taken aback, that may have surprised you a little bit. This could have been a number synchronicity. This could have been someone from your past re-entering your life. This could have been just a myriad of things. It's impossible to touch on all of the potentials for this synchronicity, but you'll know if I'm talking to you, and I feel you will instantly know what I'm talking about. This is a sign that this major shift has taken place, aligning you with this new timeline. But this is also a sign that you are very much in this flow state alignment with your highest self and with the universe, with all that is. I'm just hearing everything is connected. It's almost like this synchronicity or something in your life has shown you in an even more powerful way just how connected we all are, and how connected, how interconnected the universe is, how nothing is a coincidence. So again, let me know how or if that connects with you. I'm really curious who has been experiencing some kind of major synchronicity. I'm getting for someone it may be related to music. I don't know why I'm picking that up. Okay, getting back to this movie set analogy. So my guides are saying that this timeline shift, it's almost like being plopped into a movie set in a sense, where everyone around you is playing this new part and you automatically find yourself filling a new role that represents this higher version of yourself. It's almost like you yourself are becoming this character that you are in this new movie that you can sense that you are, but that from a different perspective, you actually created for yourself. You manifested this role in this new movie that's unfolding because you envisioned it. But when it happens, when it begins to manifest, it almost feels like you're just falling into a role. It feels very natural, very seamless, very automatic. It doesn't feel forced at all. It's almost like you just, again, woke up in this brand new reality. This is also the power of 5D manifestation as opposed to 3D manifestation, because, and I've spoken on this before, I keep getting the numbers 12 and 12-2. That could be resonant for someone. But 5D manifestation is much more seamless. It's much more free-flowing. It's effortless. Whereas when we are involved in 3D or even 4D manifestation, we're still very much trying to push things into place, trying to kind of control things or force things into being. Whereas as we get into these higher dimensional levels of consciousness, specifically when we start shifting more into that 5D consciousness, seeing everything is connected, seeing ourselves as this entirely free, entirely abundant, unconditional, free-flowing being, we begin to just move as we feel inspired in the moment, while steadily holding some kind of vision of who we desire to become or what we desire to embody in our life. And as we do that, we begin to actually take these quantum leaps towards, I hate to call them goals because that word sounds so constricted, but we begin to take quantum leaps towards these outcomes that we may have envisioned for ourselves, moving much more quickly from a physical 3D perspective than most people who are still living at lower levels of consciousness would actually believe possible. And I sense that you, awakened, divine, feminine goddess being that you are, you're actually stepping more into that kind of really powerful manifestation style and fully leaving behind those old patterns of control that were based upon fear. Now, it's so funny. I haven't even pulled many new cards yet. I've only pulled 2 new cards, and we haven't gotten to those yet because there were so many cards that actually came out as I was shuffling the decks, as I was getting ready for this reading. Now, I will say, Divine Feminine, you have this very strong spiritual presence around you right now. Your guides are most likely giving you a lot of downloads, either consciously or unconsciously. I'm getting that for some of you, you might be channeling these downloads in unconscious ways creatively. So if you are someone who already has an open channel through a creative outlet, What I mean by that is if you are someone who is a singer, a songwriter, an artist, a writer, a creative type in some way, maybe you journal on a daily basis. If you are consistently in a routine of keeping an open channel for these downloads to come through unconsciously, your guides are already sending those downloads through those creative outlets. And so be aware of that, because I'm getting that if you're a creative type, much of what you're doing right now creatively, much of what you're sharing, writing, again, even if it's just journaling, you're actually channeling a lot of information that is coming through as downloads, really powerful information. Now, on that note, another message from my guides is that when you do consistently hold an open channel creatively, I'm hearing the word hobby. So there might be something in your life you consider to be a hobby, again, such as songwriting, writing, playing music, doing art. This is something highly creative. You might consider it a hobby. And in fact, in the past, you may have actually even seen this as a distraction from quote unquote your real work, or the work you felt like you should be doing. Maybe you, for example, work at a job, but then you love music, you love playing instruments, creating music, singing. And so in this scenario, you may have seen your workplace as your main focus and this other outlet as quote unquote a distraction, or something that, just the word distraction is coming up, but it's actually the opposite. Because what my guides are saying is this creative outlet actually facilitates everything else in your life. Because when you are, and I keep hearing something about a routine, like there's very specific guidance for someone to carve out a specific, like a set amount of time or a certain time in your day when you write or when you create or when you journal or do something creative. Because when you hold this creative outlet, you will actually, almost like a muscle, strengthen that intuitive ability and also that channeling ability, whether you're doing so consciously or unconsciously. And over time, your guides will actually start sending you more, an increased number, and more powerful messages that you then translate through that art or through that music or through that physical medium, because you have this routined kind of set aside time that you are building that muscle, that you're holding that channel open. And even if that isn't your main quote unquote work at this time or what you're doing in the physical world, it's actually facilitating radical spiritual growth and emotional growth within you. And I see it like literally expanding you. It's like expanding your capacity to hold light energy, which is naturally raising your vibration and aligning you with these higher timelines in every other area of your life, for your physical body, for your relationships, for your workplace. I'm hearing if you set aside this creative time, even just 20 or 30 minutes a day for a few weeks, you will begin to see what I'm talking about. You will notice that like a muscle, it becomes strengthened, that you feel this increase in your energy, in your vibration, that you begin aligning with these higher timelines in your life. I'm hearing it's a really powerful tool. It's almost like you are utilizing this creative outlet or medium for raising your own vibration, for timeline shifting through that vibrational raising process. Because of course, when we raise our vibration, we naturally align with higher timelines. So very specific download there. I know that will not connect with everyone, but someone absolutely needed to hear that. I really hope that message reached you if it was for you. So I also pulled 2 cards from the Rumi Oracle when I was starting this reading. Actually, these cards were just at the bottom of the deck. and really caught my attention, which I know there are no coincidences. I know there are messages from these cards. And right away, when I saw these two cards, I saw that they represented the collective divine feminine and the collective divine masculine. Now, do keep in mind that we all do have a balance of these energies within each of us. So at times when I channel for one or the other, I could be channeling for your internal divine masculine or divine feminine. But these also can connect with external people, relationships, dynamics, environments, etc. But I see that in these two cards, we're seeing the divine feminine and divine masculine represented at this time. So the divine feminine is coming up as dance of the divine feminine. And in this card, I see this beautiful, free-flowing energy, one who is not afraid to be untethered, one who is, again, utilizing these tools, whatever it is for you, whether it's a creative outlet, whether it's meditation, something in your life, these daily rituals that actually expand your being energetically, raise your vibration, align you with higher timelines. I see the divine feminine here also looking towards the light, looking towards the sun in this artwork. And what I see this representing is that you, divine feminine, are looking towards the new beginning that you are creating and beginning to embody energetically. You are dropping the past. You are leaving the past behind. Once again, there's that sense of having gone through a mini ego death recently, where once again, you have released certain aspects or facets of your previous self. And in doing so, created space for this new version of yourself to come in. Now, with the divine masculine, I see the masculine coming up here as divine discontent, almost being pushed into this very opposite energy from the divine feminine. I feel like divine feminine, you may have gone through a period of your life where you focused on developing a lot of self-awareness. So during this time, you may have absorbed a great deal of spiritual material through books, through other mediums. You may have been really actively working to identify all of your traumas, all of your self-limiting patterns, focusing on kind of pushing yourself to constantly better yourself. But the thing is, it's almost like through all of that self-analysis, through all of that healing work, you've come to a place where you are ready to emerge from the cocoon, where you've expanded to a point where you are just simply ready to drop that old identity and to allow yourself to be new, to allow your life to be new, to allow yourself to come into this fresh embodiment of self that is more in alignment with that higher self. Whereas for the divine masculine, he was far less self-aware. He worked far less on developing that sense of self-awareness, going within himself. He, in fact, really resisted this. You, divine feminine, went deep into your emotional body. You went deep into yourself through spending a great deal of time alone, through, I'm seeing someone getting really emotional, crying, processing a lot of pain. You went through all of that. Now I see the masculine who for a long time was resisting or distracting from that process. And I just saw the number 2323, that may be significant to someone, but I see that the masculine is now going through all of that. And it's almost like hitting him like a ton of bricks, but it's also meant to be felt. It's meant to break down his old version of self. He is going through that major ego death that you, divine feminine, may have gone through months or even years ago. And I see that it's actually your rising, your expanding energy that is pushing the divine masculine into that deep journey of self-analysis, self-evaluation, beginning to wonder, I hear a masculine saying, am I living the life I truly desire? Am I where I want to be in life? it's almost like a spiritual awakening is happening within the masculine that's coming through here, but it's actually I'm hearing apathy is turning to deep discontentment. So it's like for a while, the masculine here may have been living very on the surface, using distractions to avoid self-analysis, feeling almost apathetic. There was a lack of emotional awareness here that may have looked like apathy on the surface, but now I see that apathy is being transformed into a deep sense of conscious discontentment that is actually meant to motivate him into the changes that would bring for greater happiness. Now, I see that you, Divine Feminine, it's almost like you're being pushed out of your head. So it's a very opposite energy, because you've already, again, done that deep self-analysis, self-evaluation. And it's almost like you're starting to get this restless push outside of yourself, outside of those like long trails of thought in your mind. I can't find a better way to describe it. It's like you're being pushed to reveal your new version of self to the world, to reemerge back into the consciousness of others, back into community, back into connection with others, socially, platonically, or romantically. Whereas the divine masculine is having those types of 3D external distractions removed from his life to push him into that deeper self-evaluation. And I see that these things very much go hand in hand. I'm also getting with the card, pay attention to the red flags in the reverse position, that for a divine feminine here, there may have been a masculine in your life, platonically or romantically, who was exhibiting a lot of, well, from a human perspective, we could call it red flag behavior. So there were certain things that he was doing or not doing in the physical 3D worlds that came up as kind of red flags to you in your mind. And I'm seeing an immense amount of growth, because what I'm getting from you, Divine Feminine, is that in the past, when someone exhibited this kind of behavior, it may have caused you to feel this push into your chasing energy, to feel like you wanted to figure out why, you wanted an explanation, you wanted to know why they weren't giving you the love or care you deserved, or why they were exhibiting these behaviors. But I'm getting that the immense amount of growth that has taken place is being evidenced in the fact that you no longer find these behaviors attractive. You no longer, not that you ever found them attractive, but they no longer trigger you into your chasing energy in the same way as they did in the past. Meaning, I'm hearing you meet red flags with apathy and disinterest. It's like if someone is exhibiting behavior that shows to you they aren't capable of showing up for you, supporting you, caring for you in the ways that you now know you deserve. And when I say no, I mean no in a really solid, deep, concrete, subconscious way. This isn't a surface level kind of telling yourself you're worthy. You have now this solid core of knowingness of your worth and value that comes from a really deep level. And I'm getting that because of that, you have these shifts taking place in your automatic responses to other people's behaviors and interactions with you. In the past, if someone wasn't showing up for you, you may have wondered about your own worth, or you may have even tried to chase them or to get some kind of explanation out of them. But now I see you're just willing to drop it, willing to release, willing to let go. And you're not afraid of anything, and you're not holding on to any attachment in your life out of fear, because you fully stepped into these higher levels of consciousness where fear simply cannot consistently exist within your stable long-term connections. Meaning, if you are constantly afraid of losing someone, or constantly afraid of how someone is thinking or feeling about you, that is so against the current of that that stream of unconditional love that you've been working for so long to open and cultivate within yourself, that it simply doesn't fit. So if someone is trying to trigger reactions of fear from you or to trigger that chasing out of you, they're not going to get the reaction that they're looking for anymore. Now, I feel once again, this is so specific. There could be a specific masculine in your life who has been doing this to you platonically, romantically, in the workplace. This could also just apply generally. This could be thematic in your life. But I'm also seeing a really strong energy of a masculine energy taking action towards you in a real-time way. Because here we have Healer of the Ages and also the Action card in the upright position. The number 17 may be connecting with someone here, but I see someone who is very much going through, I want to say they've actually already gone through a lot of healing within themselves. This person has really opened their mind, opened their consciousness, and I see them thinking a lot about how they can take some kind of radical action in the physical world towards you, because we not only have the action card, but also the strategy card, representing that this masculine seems to be strategizing or planning towards you in regards to these actions that he wants to take in the physical world. But the key message I'm getting for you, Divine Feminine, is allow others to show you, to reveal to you through action. And I feel this is being emphasized because you, Divine Feminine, have always had the intuitive gift and ability of being able to read energy. So for example, when you encounter a powerful soul connection, such as a soulmate or a twin flame, you are so intuitive that you're able to consciously feel and sense the energy as though it's playing out in real time, because it is at an energetic level. But the problem arises because you're able to feel and sense that even when physically that person in their physical form is still living at a very low vibrational level of consciousness and still not willing to take action towards you in the physical world. And this may have had you living or loving on potential in the past, but I now see that you are being guided to allow others to show you through action, particularly in romantic scenarios. Allow the masculine who is either in your life, who is coming back, who might be futuristically coming, whoever this is to you, allow them to show actively their love, care, and support for you through their physical 3D action, regardless of what you are receiving from them subconsciously and telepathically. And I do see a masculine here coming towards you with that kind of concrete real-time action. So in the extended version of the reading, I am going to be channeling more into this dynamic. So we're going to be taking a look into who this masculine is that is strategizing towards you, wanting to take action towards you. We're also going to be channeling into any other energies that might be attached to you platonically or romantically at this time. And I'll also be channeling more messages from your spirit guides, because as I said, there's a very strong spiritual presence around you at this time, and a lot of downloads that you are most likely already receiving consciously or unconsciously. So again, all of that will be channeled in the extended version of the reading on Patreon. So if you do feel guided to the extended reading, the link to that is in the pinned comment and description box under the video. But for now, I am going to be reading one final Rumi Oracle guidebook message for that card I pulled earlier that I said really represented the Divine Feminine energy at this time. And this card is Dance of the Divine Feminine. And the guidebook says, if a tree could move from one place to another, it would not suffer the pain of the saw or the oppressive wounds. If the sun and the moon stood still like the rocks, they could not offer brilliance. How bitter the taste of water would be if the river stopped its flow, remaining still like seawater. When the seawater rises to become a cloud, it loses its bitterness and pours the rain of sweetness. I have given you only a few examples. You can figure out the rest. Break away from the self and enter the kingdom of love. And the guidebook also says, "You may feel unsettled, beloved, as though the ground beneath you is not so solid. You may touch it to see, is it moving? Of course. It is hurtling through the skies, spinning, tilted on its axis. Yet you stand there, imagining you have a choice of not moving. Let us laugh about it together. How can you even imagine it? Only through some misplaced fear. It is such a small craziness, really. You can cast it off, that small crazy fear. Let it return to the Earth Mother to become fertilizer for the far grander and more exciting insanity of divine love instead. Give up that tiny insanity in favor of the greater craziness of love. You cannot be unmoved by it. Your life may feel as though it's being tipped upside down. The Great Beloved esteems you capable of so much more than being sure-footed and sensible. You are more capable of whirling and stumbling whilst inspired by the music of the spheres. So you'll be able to find your orientation, even if everything you have once held on to appears to be shimmering and insubstantial, a mere dance of light rather than solid ground. This will become so easy for you because your orientation will flow from within, from the heart, and no matter what shifts and changes take place around you, your center will remain strong. That feels like a perfect place to close the reading. Thank you so much to all of you who have tuned in and shared your energy with the reading today. I appreciate all of you and this really beautiful community we're building here on YouTube. If anything from the reading did resonate with you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Magnetize Yourself. And of course, if you feel guided to it, the link to the extended Patreon reading is in the pinned comment and description box under the video, where we will be channeling more in-depth details and information from this reading. I am sending you all so much love today, wishing you a beautiful day and weekend. Take care, and I will connect with you here again in Monday's reading.